Battery.
Will the Minister advise whether he has any plans to include agriculture and fisheries within the education curriculum or within adult skills programme?
Yes, Assistant Minister.
Thank you, sir. There are currently no plans to make formal changes to the education curriculum in this area, as both are already in place within the geography, PSHE and science curriculums. Thank you, sir.
Supplemental questions?
Does the Minister at least acknowledge the importance of the education and the history of agriculture for the youth, because the youth may adopt the career of agriculture as it creates a safety net for Jersey's economy in case of an economic crash such as 2008? And this issue is certainly something to worry about because the agricultural industry is declining rapidly.
Minister.
Yes, the short answer to that is yes, absolutely. The Jersey curriculum currently directly references the Harbour and Maritime Museum as local resources to support curriculum delivery, as well as wider land use. Obviously, without going into more detail, the sciences cover many areas around the knowledge of agriculture and fisheries. I've also been recently made aware that we have twinning groups which currently operate through the parishes with other jurisdictions, where some of the things that are being currently explored are whether we can do exchange programs or online and distance learning with the universities in this field in other jurisdictions as well. Thank you, sir.
Any other supplementary questions to the Assistant Minister? Ms Springett.
How does the Minister plan to directly target the actual history of Jersey's agriculture rather than the general idea of it?
Thank you, sir. A lot of this is already covered in the curriculum, so there are crossovers with history, where students are taken to see how the kind of the evolution of the economy within Jersey, and that is again with direct references to the harbour and the maritime museums. There's also the geography curriculum addresses areas in terms of land use and human economic activity, including distribution of natural resources at Key Stage 2, with a sustainability additional focus at Key Stage 3. We also have forest schools as well is offered in primary schools and introduces an early understanding of sort of trees and hedgerows and their importance to our island to pupils in Key Stage 1.
Supplemental question, Ms Springett? No? Mr Jenkins.
Does the Minister know the last time the curriculum was reviewed to ensure that there are sufficient information offered about agricultural fisheries to young people?
Thank you, sir. I don't know when the curriculum was reviewed with that specific intent. I know that the curriculum is reviewed regularly to make sure that we are in line with, obviously, with the national standards and to make sure that we're offering students the best that we possibly can to support with the best outcomes. Thank you.
Supplemental questions, Jenkins? Anyone else have any questions for the Assistant Minister? Ms Davies.
In regards to college and secondary schools, is there any way that the Minister proposes accessibility for extracurricular activities? Thank you.
Mr Minister.
I think we obviously have an issue around schools having sort of finite time as well as resources. I know that there had been talk in the previous governments about extending the school day, which probably would not be that popular. So I think we have to be very careful of, obviously, I think we would love to be able to cover every single part of life that we can and topics that people are interested in, but we have to be careful and prioritise accordingly in order to ensure that the time that is spent in school is spent appropriately and proportionately.
Have a supplemental question, Ms Davies? Ms Springett. Ms Springett?
Considering that not everyone does geography for further education, and it is more of overall, like the whole of the UK, rather than Jersey and specifics. How would you implement this in possibly assembly times? That's often finances focus more than physical labour, which suits some people more than.
Thank you. So I think assembly times is a good opportunity to maybe have guest speakers in to talk to students in these areas. I think maybe form times as well could be utilised as that. So I think that there is obviously scope to include information around this, but again, it has to be measured and proportionate.
Do you have a supplemental, Ms. Bennett? Sierra.
Can the Minister acknowledge the importance of encouraging pupils in a career in farming and agriculture to promote Jersey's dying industry, farming, and this should be made a priority in the PSHE curriculum?
Minister.
Thank you. Yes, I do acknowledge that. I do acknowledge that obviously living on a very small island, we quite regularly experience disruptions to our food sources, and so food security is important. Currently, there are level 3 qualifications that schools and colleges could consider if there was sufficient interest, which includes certificates and diplomas in land-based services. I know that currently Highlands College currently offers an extended diploma in animal management, for example, which is also part of farming. So there is, again, there has to be enough sort of supply and demand. Thank you, sir.
Do you have a supplemental question for that, Sierra?
I'm going to try to phrase it as a question.
Well, it has to be, so far away.
Can the Minister acknowledge that, or campaign, I should say, to involve more agriculture and farming into PSHE, so therefore it encourages that demand, so we can carry on fueling our industry that promotes history and everything else?
Minister.
It is currently already included in the PSHE lessons. Obviously, PSHE, I think, is only once a week at secondary school level, and there's quite a lot to fit into that. I would probably prefer to support it more more widely, maybe in careers fairs, get more people sort of involved in that, having more kind of encouraging families maybe to go and out and visit. I know that obviously we've spoken today about housing and some other things, that there are other pressures within our society. So I think that there's probably a lot more of a holistic approach needed in order to be able to do this. Thank you.